You've heard us talk about them. They're in, and they're on the website.
Absolutely. Our brand new America's Diesel podcast, branded bills, badass, flex fit, performance material, sweat stain resistant. It literally feels like it cools your head.
I don't know how that's possible, but somehow
know.
it is. Yeah, you can rock it. You know, I'm more of a flat bill kind of guy. You can do that. You can curve it. For all you taco holder guys, you can even throw that in there.
Yeah.
And then snap back with a little bit of the flex fit.
Yeah.
Big head approved, small head approved.
And it's extremely comfortable. I almost guarantee, I say almost guarantee. No, I guarantee this is the most comfortable hat you will ever wear. And the logo, rubber. Awesome.
Yeah.
Came out great.
Super detailed rubber on there, so it's never going to fade on you. If you want to get one of these in your hands, they are $50, shipped to the lower 48, plus tax, if applicable in your state. Just go on the dieselpowerproducts.com, search hat, look for the fantastic Jam and Eagle logo, and pick yourself up some before they're out of stock.
Yeah.
America's Diesel Podcast.
Brought to you by Diesel Power Products.
America's Diesel Superstore.
No salesman,
Just enthusiasts.
dieselpowerproducts.com.
Your number one source for all things diesel.
Surprise, surprise, folks. 7.3 content coming your way. Tyler just died a little bit inside.
No, this is an episode that I think a lot of people could benefit from because it's something that you might not know is going on because it's not going to really give you any sort of it could give you zero symptoms, but it's a good thing to check, especially if you're getting or if you got a truck that's getting up there in the mileage.
Yeah.
This week's podcast episode is brought to you by Fuel Bomb Diesel Additive, an additive designed for diesel enthusiasts, made by diesel enthusiasts. Ben, take it away.
Hell yeah, dude. So this is our in-house Fuel Bomb fuel additive for your diesel truck. Our biggest thing here is making sure that you can pretty much always have diesel additive on you all the time. You've got a lot of other additives out on the market that they have anti-gel in there all the time. They have cetane in there all the time. They end up being big and bulky bottles. Our standard everyday diesel fuel additive is 1 ounce per 32 gallons, and that's its main job is to make sure that your fuel system stays lubricated and prevents the formation of algae. And it should also help you in colder climates too.
Should definitely help you in colder climates. Along with cleaning your fuel system and maintaining it, it'll also help you bump that cetane number up for a more efficient burn of your diesel fuel. And if cetane is just what you're after, there's the Fuel Bomb Hellfire, which is our straight 8+ cetane enhancer.
Yeah, and you guys asked, and we brought them back. We did go away from the bottles that didn't have the measuring little parts in there. We brought them back for you, so now you can measure out your 1 ounce per 32 gallons for the F-Bomb or 4 ounces per 32 gallons for the Hellfire.
Both these additives are available on our website, dieselpowerproducts.com. Now let's get back to that episode.
So let's get this intro out of the way and get started here. Thank you for tuning in. This is Ben and Tyler and Corey.
Hi.
Hey, from America's Diesel Podcast, coming at you from the 6th to 9th Circle of Hell, Spokane, Washington. It is hot, hot, hot. Summer is here. It's triple digits. It's hot as hell in the shop. Therefore, it's hot as hell in this room. So we're sweating our heinies off, but luckily we've got ice cold barley juice to quench our thirst.
And our America's Diesel Podcast cup and hat to keep our head cool and our whole body. This is a whole body chill right now.
Yeah, shame.
It might look like we're sweating and we're like struggling. That's just on the outside, folks.
Yeah. Inside, chill Bill.
Chilly.
Chilly Billy.
Chilly Billy.
Make sure and check us out on Google Play, SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, anywhere you listen to podcasts. You can find us on there by searching America's Diesel Podcast. You can also find us on the social medias, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. We are trying to pump up our numbers all around there.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It's too cold in there.
It's too cold in the chamber of the dark chamber of my chest.
Yeah, your gullet.
God. We are trying to pump up our Instagram numbers because we do go live on there every Wednesday, right around 4:45, 5-ish p.m. Pacific time. Have a beer with the boys, 10, 15, 20 minutes, talk about how your life is going, what we got going on, all that kind of good stuff. Reviews, Tyler, go.
Oh, yeah. Let's keep those reviews coming in. We are moving up in the ranks, and we greatly appreciate every one of you leaving a 5-star review because that's the only reviews we accept. Leave a review on any podcast platform that you listen to us on. Screenshot that and send it to podcast@dieselpowerproducts.com. Make sure to include a picture of your truck or the truck you want and an address that we can send a sticker to. It looks just like the logo on our badass new hats and our cups and our background. Background you can't buy. However, you can buy the hats, shirts, and cups.
Unfortunately, me and Tyler are not for sale.
Depends.
Everything's got a price. Mega Millions is up there. You never know.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
If you are listening to this and you're buying diesel parts for your pickup and you're not buying the diesel power products, I want to know why. And if you do need parts, make sure and check out dieselpowerproducts.com. Do a sales text on the phone 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific time, Monday through Friday, able to answer any questions you may have and get you the right part the first time, every time. And again, if you are placing orders, let them know that you are a podcast listener. Receive absolutely nothing, but it helps us let the guys know that we're down here, not just farting around, but making money while farting around and drinking beer.
Yeah.
It's the win-win-win for everybody.
Yep.
Okay. Hey, also, if you place an order and you forgot to put it on there, no harm, no foul. Reach out to me, let me know. I still tally them up. It still works out. So, 7.3 stuff. If you don't know, I have an 01 Excursion with about 255 in the clock right now. And the goal with this thing is basically the family hauler.
Yep.
I'm not trying to make a whole bunch of power with it. It just needs to be reliable, and it needs to be good.
Yep.
Yeah. And I have a trip coming up. I'm actually leaving tomorrow, driving from Spokane. The end destination is Twain Harte. If you don't know where that is, you basically, and I'm in Spokane, you basically start going south, and once you get past Sacramento, you keep going. Basically, you hit Stockton, turn left, and go into the mountains. About another hour and a half or so.
What are you doing down there? Just chilling?
Absolutely nothing.
That's awesome.
My wife's family has a spot in Twain Harte.
Twain? Like Mark Twain?
Yep. Twain Harte.
Okay.
It's dense forest.
Did you know Mark Twain? That's actually not his name.
Yeah. It's something else, but
Yeah.
but it's her family's house. They're gracious enough to let us come because it's the whole idea. Family comes to the house and they all hang out. No cell service, no internet, just DVDs and Guitar Hero and beer and remote control cars.
When you said guitar, I was like, wait, you play guitar?
Hell no.
I was like, whoa.
I can make noise. All right?
Yeah,
I can make noise.
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, so we're basically going down that way, and I've got 2 kids. I've got about an 8-month-old and right about a 5-year-old, so we're going to be making about 6 million stops. But this thing needs to be dependable. So over the last year or so, I've been, with this trip in mind, I've been slowly knocking off things that I know I want to make sure that I want to have done, so that's not something I'm worried about while I'm driving.
Yeah. With tires.
Yeah, I did tires, did the windshield, got the stereo set up, the AC is good. Car seats are all like, I'm not saying my kids were not strapped in before, but like I kind of changed how they were, so it's easier for my wife to, like, if she needs to, she can hop in the back seat and take care of the kids or whatever.
Yeah.
All that kind of good stuff. Just making it real good road trip ready.
Yeah.
And one of the things that, so for information for you guys, 6.0s and 7.3s, the computer, they are computer controlled, but the computer has no idea what fuel pressure is. There's no way for it to monitor it. The truck does not. It just assumes it's good. Is it running? All right, we've got.
Yeah.
They don't. There's no like. Is it too much? Is it too little? Is it not enough? It's just like yes or no.
Yeah.
Pressure? Yes, good.
Yeah.
And it actually doesn't even.
It's too busy monitoring all the oil from all the different orifices.
It doesn't even say, do we have pressure? It just says, is the truck running? If the truck is running, we must have pressure.
Yeah.
We must have fuel. That's it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that's always going to irk me while I'm driving this thing, and I had no reason to suspect anything, because I've even come in and told Tyler, the Excursion's running so good right now.
Yeah.
It's just it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, and I knew that if I was going to take this road trip, I have an Edge Insight. Shout out to Edge. Great monitoring products, great sensors and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what, I'm going to add a fuel pressure sensor I had a feeling that the pressure may not have been what I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Ideally, you want like 55, 65 PSI, idle, wide open throttle, whatever. The Ford factory spec is 40 to 70. If it's running, 40 to 70 is okay.
That's quite the span.
I know. Some of them even drop down to 35, where they say it's like still okay. But as time has gone on and whatnot, when you talk to anybody that makes fuel pressure systems for me or fuel supply systems, the goal number is like, 55 is ideal.
Yeah.
If you make 45 at idle and wide open throttle, you're still making 45.
Why don't they just say that? We're going to give you a 30 PSI span.
Mostly because it's like spring and pop it regulated. It's like, and it's on the return side. So just like the fuel goes, from the fuel filter or the pump, goes through the pump, goes into the bottom of the fuel bowl. And once it pressurizes that and the line's enough, it has a spring and a pop it. And it just,
I know, but at the same time, it's like, gosh, Ford, you spent so much time like figuring out to get like perfect oil pressure for the engine and the injection system. Like it has to be like, in spec. Then it's like they went to fuel pressure and they're just like, yeah, we don't really care.
We're gonna put a really good pump on it and just assume nothing else. Is wrong.
We're just not gonna look into it any further.
So the only thing I had to suspect that my fuel pressure may not be like ideal was the fact that on my higher horsepower tunes, so I have gearhead tuning, also shout out gearhead, that on like 5 and 6 basically kind of like stumbles on space a little bit. So I've just been kind of rocking tune 3, which is like a heavy tow economy tune or something like that. I like the shift points, I like the throttle response. Just it's a really good driving thing.
Yeah.
So before my trip, I was like, I hadn't even looked at my trip yet, but by the time you listen to this, I'll actually already be back. But so I ordered a universal input and a pressure sensor. To put it on a stock Ford fuel bowl, you'd have to buy an adapter for it. They're not hard to find, and they're like $6.
Yeah.
So I put that on the truck, and I plugged in the sensor and everything like that. And so I hit the key, on, check for leaks. I had a little bit of drip, so I tightened everything back up and put a little bit of. There was an O-ring going from the adapter into the bowl.
Let me guess, you had the O-ring.
It came with the O-ring. But yes, if I needed it, I would have had it for sure.
If I ever needed an O-ring for anything, I'm just like, Ben, you got this O-ring?
Yep.
Guarantee he does.
Guaranteed. But then from the sensor into the adapter, there's a brass fitting into a steel fitting, NPT. So you should theoretically be able to kind of crank it down until it stops leaking.
Yeah.
I was reefing on it pretty hard, and I was really worried I was going to start splitting things.
Yeah.
So I do have some diesel-rated liquid thread sealant.
Yeah.
The same stuff you would use on the fuel bowl when you reseal it and stuff like that. So I threw a little bit of that on there, tightened up, no more drips.
I would have just thrown another O-ring on around it.
Well, not an NPT ship, Tyler.
Why not? Just throw it on there.
There is no surface to even put the O-ring on.
Why not? Just put it on anyways.
Just put the O-ring on. That's not how it works.
I would have put it on.
So I got that on, and the sensor finally starts reading, and it's reading like at idle like 29. And I'm like, shit.
Yeah. Well,
and I'm like, but the truck's running. It's so good. It's running so good. Obviously, it's not. Okay, well, I've got some more diagnosing to do.
Yeah. And I think this is something that anybody with a higher mileage 7.3 should check. Mm-hmm. Because just like you're saying, you're at 29 PSI. And I know you're going to go through your story because you've kind of already told it to me, but you're at 29 PSI thinking that like the truck's running great.
Yeah.
Like everything is perfect. Like this is fine. Little do you know, like you were severely low on fuel pressure.
So I had a case of the happy sads. I was
like, wow,
I've got some power left on the table. It's going to be real easy to find here, folks.
Yeah.
And second, I'm like, damn, I was hoping everything would be great.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started like, okay, I got to take my own advice here. Start from the tank and work your way forward.
Yeah.
Nice thing about 7.3s is you have a Bosch lift pump basically right underneath the driver's seat and the frame rail. It's actually, and the pump on those trucks is very sufficient. I mean, there are regularly return like fuel supply systems that just reuse a Bosch stock pump.
Yeah, I think some of the competition series pump actually use 2 Bosch stock pumps.
So they're not bad pumps.
Yeah, and it's nice too. Like you could pick that pump up from probably most auto parts stores.
Exactly, and that's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to stick with a Bosch pump on there, at least for the time being.
Yeah. Because
if this is going to be a huge travel vehicle, I want to know. I like the fact that I can, if the pump were to go out, I can stop at basically any O'Reilly, anything. And they have a Bosch pump. That's right there, or some sort of comparable replacement.
Yeah.
So I first thing I did was I went to the hardware store and got some 5/16 fuel hose, like 10 feet. Mm-hmm. And I was like, okay, so I need to basically because 7.3s have a habit of tank delamination and where like the little foot umbrella falls off and there's in-tank filters that get clogged.
Yeah.
So I need to check to see if it's the tank issue. Maybe it's trying to get enough pressure, but it can't get enough volume from the tank. Okay, so what I did was got a bucket, took the hose, put it on the engine side of the pump, hose the bucket, filled it up, I don't know, a third of the way.
Yeah.
So,
and this is something smart to do with any truck you're diagnosing a fuel supply issue with. Always start with the tank.
Yeah. Just check the source. Work your way forward, because if you can isolate where it is, then it gives you a really good chance to figure it out.
Narrows it down.
Narrows it
quite
down
a
a
bit.
lot. So as I'm filling this bucket up, and I have no way to reference like how much 40 or so psi or whatever looks like from a pump and a 5/16 hose, and I'm filling it up. And I'm like, it looks kind of weak.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't look bad. It's filling it up. So I cycle the key a whole bunch of times, and then what do? Is I put the tank supply hose back on, and I take the hose. I take the engine supply side, put that back on. So now the pump is going to be feeding the engine, but then I'm going to have the pump pull from the bucket that I just filled up with fuel.
Yeah.
So now I have taken the fuel tank completely out of the equation.
Yep.
And I do that. I start it up, same exact pressure. I'm like, okay. So
it's good news and bad news.
It's good news and bad news. Okay, so it's going to be something from the pump forward.
Yep.
I'm like, okay. And I'm thinking back. I do remember changing the regulator spring on the fuel bowl just because I had like a 55 psi one hanging around from old stuff. Because the stock ones they're not even like, you can shim them and get more pressure out of it, but they're not even going to get you 55 psi.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking to myself, okay, that one's fine. That's already been there. There's no need for me to crack that loose. I'm thinking to myself, truck's got 255 on it. I can tell this is the stock lift pump on it. Mm-hmm. Lift pumps, they're $100. I'm getting ready to go on a road trip. I look at it as it probably needs to be replaced anyways. It's $100. I'm not saying like throw money at stuff, but like $100 to potentially fix a problem, not that big of a deal. And if it's not the issue, I've got an extra pump.
Yes.
I get an extra pump I can throw in back, and now I have all my bases covered. So I get the pump, put it on the truck, same exact pressure. I'm like, shit. Yeah. All right. That's and the whole time I'm thinking to myself, like, great, I gotta drop the tank. And I'm like, no, you isolated the tank.
Yeah.
It's not the tank. I probably had to tell myself 100 times, don't drop the tank. Don't mess with those fittings. You're gonna break one. You're leaving on a road trip. This happened this is like last weekend. So like you're leaving in 10 days for a road trip. Don't mess anything up.
Yeah.
Stick to your guns. Do what you do and follow your own advice.
Yep.
Okay. So I'm like, okay, so I make my way up to the fuel bowl. First thing I do is I take the little, if you've ever done these, you know what I'm talking about, but I take the return line off, kind of wedge it out of the way, and then I take those two Torx bits and take the little regulator with the spring and pop it off. And as I pull it off, I pull the spring out, and it's got the tiniest like kink in it.
Yeah.
I'm like, huh.
I'm no spring expert.
I'm not a spring expert, but that could be an issue.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think it would be an issue, but it could be an issue.
Yeah.
So when I did my turbo, I had to took the fuel ball out because I did the hybrid. Yeah. Took the fuel ball out. What was that? No, it was when I did the high pressure oil pump. I took the fuel ball out.
Yeah.
So I disconnected it, and it was the very last thing I was tightening up. But I over torqued the return line onto the aluminum part right there and snapped it off. So I had to make an emergency parts store run at like 9:55 p.m. on a Sunday, and luckily there was a Dorman fix-it kit for it. So Dorman makes a once again Dorman.
Yeah.
The truck is like half Dorman.
Yeah.
But they come with a new aluminum housing on there with the threads on there, a spring, a poppet, and the poppet seat and hardware and O-ring.
Yeah.
Extra O-ring. I got a lot of O-rings. So knowing that I already had a higher pressure spring in there, all I did was just replace the housing. I didn't replace the poppet or anything that came with it. And it came with a blue spring, but it doesn't state that it's a blue spring upgrade. The blue spring upgrade was usually something you found in like the 6.0s.
Yeah. And
they've now kind of trickled down to the 7.3s, and people just started calling it blue spring upgrade.
Yeah.
So I didn't put that one in. Now I'm in there, I'm like, well, you know what? I've got this extra spring. I've never ran it.
Yeah.
So let's throw that in there and see what happens. And keep in mind, I already had when I ordered the Bosch pump, because they're only a day away from us here, I also ordered and this is the pro tip. This is a pro tip for anybody out there.
Pro tip.
If you are considering rebuilding your fuel bowl on your Super Duty 7.3, first off, if you're buying a Super Duty 7.3 that has a lot of miles on there, you should just instinctively buy a fuel bowl rebuild reseal kit. They're like $11 from Alliant, comes with all the O-rings you need.
And a for sale sign.
Here's the good part though. If you buy the Alliant Blue Spring upgrade kit,
it comes with a for sale sign.
For free. And they professionally edit your listing. And filters for the pictures. But the kit will come with a black billet spring housing, a higher pressure spring, a new poppet, and all of the O-rings to rebuild the fuel bowl
Yeah.
for like $29.
Yeah.
Like, even if you're not going to use all that stuff, but you need the spring, just buy that kit.
Yeah.
You should have those O-rings on you, okay? Tyler's joke is coming. Don't worry, but you need to have those O-rings on you.
You are going to be the easiest person to shop for your birthday and Christmas. Like, I'm just going to get you O-rings. I'm going to get you an O-ring necklace. I'm going to get you O-ring jewelry.
That's fine.
I'm going to get you.
I'll take it.
I know you will.
I'll add them to my
and
drawer
you'll
of
probably be
O-rings.
jacked. You'll be like, hell yeah.
Sick. I don't have that size. That's a weird thickness.
Yeah.
That's an awkward girth. I'm keeping that one.
Yeah,
So I grabbed the spring because I still had it, obviously, and I throw it in there, turn the key to the on position, boom, 47 PSI. I'm like, okay.
Money.
All right, go take it for a drive. Just everything's better. Everything's better.
Yeah.
Shifts better, off the line better, throttle response is better, comes up on boost better. Obviously, it's got pressure.
Yeah.
And even under wide open throttle, it drops to maybe like 40, maybe 39 at most.
Yeah.
Or at least. But then I got greedy.
Yeah.
And the XTP kit came in.
Yeah.
And so I take the Dorman one off, and I'm starting to I put the XTP one on with their spring. Drops down to 38 PSI. I'm like, what in the
What?
So then I take that out, put the Dorman spring in, same pressure. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
Check all,
So these
again,
are supposed to be what PSI springs?
they just say 10% increase over stock. So the only person that I know, or in company I know that actually sells a higher PS riffraff, and I have riffraff springs. I actually ordered some. I keep them on hand, but they make a 55, like a 45, 55, a 60, and a 70. I could be off of those numbers, but that's around what it is.
How much pressure can that pump actually make? Those Bosch pumps.
With the right spring, 70, 75.
They can do it.
80, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They're robust pumps.
Wow.
The thing is, even when you talk to regular return guys or fuel supply guys, they'll tell you with basically stock to most larger injectors, 65, 70 at most is where you want to be.
Yeah.
There are people that say, "Oh, set it to 80, more pressure is better." 62 to 65. If you can idle at 62 to 65 and under wide open throttle see 62 to 65, you're giving your injectors all the pressure they need.
Yeah.
They're going to be fine. But yeah, so I started getting greedy, and then I put that in there. Didn't change it. I'm like, well, great. So now I guess there is a difference between the spring and the housing and the poppet and everything like that. But then I'm looking at the Dorman one. I've taken it on and off so many times. The threads are starting to pull on it. It's like, shit. So I just put it back on, and I'm like, okay. Now I'm starting to get the bad fuel. I'm making like high 30s at most. I'm like, well, I need to get this fixed. And I'm still waiting for my riffraff springs to come in because I ordered them.
Yeah.
And now and again, hey, maybe you might be thinking like, Ben, how could you be talking about riffraff? They're competitors. Yes, I know they're competitors. I've been buying riffraff parts before I even worked here, and they sell some parts that we just don't sell and will probably never sell.
Yeah.
So shout out to Clay at Riffraff. They've nothing but respect for those guys. I am a customer. I pay full price for it. I pay for shipping. I pay for everything.
Yeah.
I don't get any special deals from them. So I ordered a set of their springs with a couple other things just I wanted to have on hand for the trip. And I'm like, there is the old BB trick. Take a BB, put it in the poppet, shin the spring basically.
Yeah.
So in my mind, I know I'm not going to get this thing until Monday, which was day before yesterday. So over the weekend, I went and bought some BBs because I didn't have any. I don't have a BB gun. I carry a real gun with real bullets.
Yeah.
Don't have any BBs. So I went and bought some, and I'm like, I need proof of concept here. I know that this spring makes this pressure. I'm going to shim it. It has to make more pressure. If it doesn't make more pressure, I'm now back to square one. I'm dropping the tank. At that point, I'm like, by the way, guys, yes, I did change the fuel filter. Okay, that was I changed that when I put the new sensor on. And no, that wasn't the cause of my issue. It's the exact same style fuel filter I had beforehand. So just calm your tits.
Calm them.
Calm. And so I need proof of concept. So I get home, throw the BB in there, 49 PSI. That's where I'm.
Call it good.
That's where I'm leaving. I still have the springs with me, in case I need to tinker with it, or if I get bored while I'm in Twain Harte for some reason. I don't know why the hell I do that, but if I feel like I just need to torture myself out in the heat, I'll go replace the spring and maybe put that in there. But so this is basically for any of you people that are, especially 7.3 stuff, and this goes for anything that you may feel like the truck doesn't monitor good enough.
Yeah.
Find out how to monitor it.
Yeah.
There is so much value in knowing what your truck is doing, how it's doing, and you can do that with gauges.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be honest with you guys, the best in the business right now is going to be an Edge Insight.
It truly is.
Especially for 7.3 guys and 6.0 guys. And I got nothing against analog gauges. ISPRO was a sponsor of the podcast. I love ISPRO gauges.
Yeah.
I love autometer gauges. The only ones I don't like are glow shift.
Yeah. Cheap
Glow
ass.
shit.
Yeah,
those
they're
things will
shit.
shit out on you.
Yeah.
But yeah, ISPRO gauges, love them. Autometer gauges, love them. In fact, on the blue truck, I wanted to do analog gauges because I like the look of them. I like the feel of them. But here's the thing. On 7.3s and 6.0s, there is no analog gauge for IPR percentage.
Yeah.
In fact, I even contacted ISPRO about it. I was like, if you can make an ICP gauge that has a small digital, even just a 2-digit readout for IPR percentage, I'll buy it 100%.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't even have to be a DPP gauge. It doesn't have to be a Bend gauge. It's like, if you make that, that will, I would like to say I guarantee you're going to start stealing some of the 7.3 guys away from edges, because, and even when I talk to guys on the phone, and this is, again, neither of these people sponsor the podcast, at least when we're filming this. We're always looking for sponsors, but neither of them, Edge has in the past and ISPRO has in the past. So actually, I got no dog in this fight. I love them both and I sell both of them.
Yeah.
But when it comes to 7.3 guys, they're like, what should I get? I really want analog gauges. And I'm like, I love analog gauges too. I think you're going to love the way they look. Here's the only thing though. You can't monitor IPR.
Yeah.
That is the only thing. And if you're running bigger injectors and you got, or you really want to be in tune with your truck, you want to know how it's running, how hard it's running, how things are working, you got to know what the IPR percentage is.
Yeah.
And if you don't, there's always that one piece you're going to be missing, kind of like fuel pressure.
Yeah.
There's just this one piece you're always going to be missing. And that's why a lot of 7.3 guys and 6.0 guys end up steering towards some sort of digital monitor, namely an Edge Insight.
Yeah.
So that's basically my fuel pressure story for 7.3s. I am going to touch real quick. I started putting my toolkit together in my Home Depot bin of what I'm going to take to make sure that if anything happens.
Yeah.
I almost don't want to share a picture because it's totally just like,
I want to see it.
It's like how to tell me, show me you're a 7.3 guy without saying anything with just a picture.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
Yeah.
And it's a Home Depot tote. I've got an extra IDM. I've got, since I have CNC high pressure oil lines on there, I still have my stock ones. I threw my stock ones in there.
Never know.
I've got fuses. I've got hose clamps, O-rings. I've got a 2 extra crank position sensors. One because I just had it already, and the second one was one that I pulled out of the blue truck because I was trying to diagnose something, but it wasn't bad, so I kept it anyways.
Yeah.
Extra fuel hose. Of course, a whole bunch of tools. I don't want to say I emptied my toolbox, but I brought a lot of stuff.
Well, I mean, in this heat, I would not want to be stuck on the side of the road longer than I had to.
Especially with the kids. It's one thing is me and my wife. It's one thing it's me and my wife and she's pregnant. It's another thing when I've got, my son would probably, he'd be hot and he'd be whiny, but he still think it's kind of cool. Like, hey, we're on the side of the road, man, big truck, big truck, big truck.
Right.
But I've got, a little 8-month-old baby girl who, and I get it. People survived many hundreds of years without air conditioning. I get that.
Yeah.
But I don't want to subject them to that because that's my responsibility. I'm the dad.
100%.
I'm the man. I'm the husband. That's my responsibility. My wife makes sure that the kids have their clothes. I make sure the vehicle gets us there. And you may be thinking, I feel both jobs are equally important. Okay. You may be thinking to yourself, oh, girls, you get the laundry job. Whatever. Hey, laundry ain't easy. Laundry for 4 people sucks.
Oh, yeah.
And if you've never folded baby clothes, suck my ass. Okay? Baby clothes are the stupidest thing to fold. They're so tiny. So many of them fit into one load. You'll be thinking to yourself like, oh, I do one of my load of my laundry. A full load, I don't know, 5-6 shirts, jeans, boxers, whatever.
Yeah.
A full load of baby clothes, that's like 100 shirts, 6,000 socks, 45 diaper rag, like all this other stuff. And you think, oh man, I've been folding for 20 minutes. We're pretty much
not done.
It's still overflowing. How did this happen?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's baby clothes for you right there. But anyhow,
Well, you hit that mega mill. Do what we said earlier. You just wear it, toss it.
I won't
wear
even
it,
wash it.
toss it.
I won't even own a washer and
No,
dryer.
take the tags off, wear it, toss it. Done.
Give it the smell test.
Nope.
Nope.
Just throw it right in the fireplace.
Whoosh.
Yeah, dude, folding clothes for two people sucks. Like me and my wife, like that's all we got, and it's like, this freaking sucks. Like there'll be days like we like come back from camping, and like you can't forget to do laundry, because if you forget to do laundry, you're like, wow, shit, I brought all my clothes camping.
Yeah.
I know I got nothing to freaking wear for work.
Well, and no matter what you bring camping, you gotta wash it because it smells like camping.
100%.
Nothing wrong with that, but it's weird when you show up to work in a shirt that you didn't wear, but then
You smell like a fresh campfire.
it was in the bag with a shirt from the fresh camp. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that'll be a fun trip for you, man. I'm glad you got that figured out. I think that's something that any 7.3 owner that has a has a truck that's getting up there in mileage should check. Especially if they suspect anything, especially with a tuner and suspect that it's kind of falling on his face, kind of a thing. Mm-hmm. It could certainly be your fuel pressure, man. Check your fuel pressure.
Totally. The last thing I'm going to say about edge sensors is one of the big reasons I hear people that don't want to add edge sensors is because they're like, the universal input's so expensive, the sensor's so expensive. Okay, here's the deal. If you buy an Edge Insight and you get a pyrometer probe with an expansion cable, that means you already have the expansion cable set up. You just need to add the universal input. When you add the universal input,
two gauges.
That opens up 2 ports, which means you've got enough to add 2 sensors. So that first sensor seems like you're taking a big hit. You have to buy the universal input, which is like $177.
Yeah.
And then the sensor, which is another like $160 or so. So you may be like, oh man, I'm like almost freaking $300 over that for a gauge. Well, for the next sensor, you only have to buy the sensor.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that whenever you're thinking it's too expensive, you need to split the cost of the universal sensor input across 2 gauges or 2 sensors.
Yep.
And that's the true actual cost of
Yeah.
it. And maybe think to yourself, well, I'm never gonna add an extra sensor. Shut up, you own a 7.3. You need all the sensors you can get.
Yeah.
Okay. Fact.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind. And also, having all of your sensors and all of your reading in one screen is nice. I wouldn't want analog gauges on my Excursion. I like the cleanness at the dashboard. It's very open. I've just got one screen. I've got alarms set, maximums and minimums.
Yeah.
Don't have to look at it. And the whole idea is because in the future, the Excursion is going to be my wife's vehicle. I want to be able to truly set it and forget it.
Yeah.
And I also want to make sure that she has that screen, so if something does happen, I can say, okay, tell me what the screen is doing. Or better yet, take a video of the screen while it's doing what it's doing.
Yeah.
There's no more, it makes this sound when I turn to that. You know, girls, women are, like, they're not all like that. My wife is pretty in tune with her stuff, but at the same time, you start asking her questions, she's going to get more frustrated.
Right.
You put the screen on the phone, me and the truck, we're talking.
Yeah.
So you're literally putting the truck on the phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a joke that we have in sales.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah.
You're putting the truck on the phone.
Yeah, 100%.
Well, that is going to about wrap this one up, ladies and gentlemen. In the comments section, what's a sensor that you added that blew your mind?
Ooh.
Yeah, I want to know that one.
Yeah.
What's the sensor that you put on that changed, just really changed what was going on?
Yeah.
I want to hear about that.
Yeah.
So, ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys all tuning in. See you soon.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to subscribe and check us out at dieselpowerproducts.com.